How to experience non-duality. So, oh, I forgot to advertise my retreat as well. So next Easter there is also a retreat. You can also click on the link below, or a conference we're calling it. Yeah, so if you feel like you would like to join a conference, a 7-day conference over Easter, then please click the link below. Okay, so how to experience non-duality. You can see I really can't be bothered to do the advertisement, although I know I should. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Well, I think the most important thing is to ask is, who is it that wants to experience non-duality? So it's easy to ask the questions. It's always easy to ask, like, how to experience, how to become more peaceful. But I think the real question is who is asking that? You know, non-duality is always a pointing backwards, which ultimately isn't backwards because there's no down, up, back, forwards in non-duality because it's non-duality. But it needs freaking language to express it. So I have to say backwards because it gives some form of impression of what I'm talking about. But what is below that? Like, where does the question arise from? Which isn't very entertaining for the mind, you know. Oh my goodness, YouTube and social media, it's just so much about getting clicks and like keeping the audience interested by never quite giving them the answer. So they keep like coming, which isn't a complaint. That's not meant as a complaint. It's just as it is. But this is really a going in. This isn't something a video can answer for you. It's not something a teacher can answer for you. It's not something you can read in a book. It's really going in. Who is it that's asking the question? So how do I experience non-duality? You follow the I back to its source. You follow the question back to its source. Where does that question come from? The mind is like, oh, sorry. What did you say there, love? I said, where does the question come from? Following the I. That is an expression of how boring this subject is to the mind. When I first heard someone say that to me, I was like, man, this person's an idiot. Like, who is the finger pointing at? Who cares? Who is the finger pointing at? Who cares? All I care about is how to be happy, how to be enlightened, and how to be better than everybody else. I just want to be special. I don't want to know where the finger's fucking pointing to. Where's the finger pointing to? Who gives a shit? Just give me the answer and make me special. Nope. Who is the finger pointing to? Where does the question... Oh, sorry. Just let me get a cup of coffee, please. Just a cup of coffee will do. What were we talking about? The nature of reality. That sounds fantastic. Yes, the nature of reality. Why the universe appears and how to experience non-duality. Where's the finger pointing? Yes. So that's just a little demonstration of what happens inside the mind when you speak about this topic. Now, try to be a non-duality teacher and earn money from it when you bore the shit out of all your students because you keep being like, where does the question come from? Now, oh, now I have to pay for it? Well, at least you sent me to sleep. You wouldn't believe how many emails I get telling me that people listen to my talk in the evening to help them go to sleep. I always say, well, you're better off listening to Roger Castillo than me, but they still insist that I'm the best for getting them to sleep, which does deserve a donation, you know. If I do help you sleep in the evening, that does deserve a donation, because it is one of the most important things that we need is sleep. If you don't sleep for, what is it, like a week, you die? I don't know how many days it is that if you don't sleep, your body dies. So, I mean, if non-duality teachers fail at teaching and earning money from teaching non-duality, then at least they can teach how to sleep. Talk about non-duality. Where's the finger pointing to? Who's the finger pointing to? Where do your thoughts come from? Where does the question come? Sorry, I get a bit carried away with myself. I haven't even had my coffee yet. I'm not allowed coffee anymore, but I'm allowed a coffee now because I'm particularly tired before a talk. And yet I'm getting very excited. I've obviously satisfied my daily dose of being special, going and speaking to a camera in a computer and there's nobody there. Okay, so that's how you experience non-duality. You follow the question back to where it's come from and realize that it's not back or forward or left or right, that you're actually following the question. The question's actually arising from everywhere, which is nowhere. Everywhere, which is nowhere. The question comes from everywhere. And that's actually what is directing the whole of life. Everything is directing the whole of life. So you think your arm moves because of you. But that is actually a really ridiculous idea that, you know, don't know why our teachers taught us that. The idea that you're moving your arm, or why your parents told you that, because actually, like, how do you move your arm? Like, you're like, yeah, I'm moving my arm. But how do you move your arm? Well, I tell it. I give the wheel. It's like becoming a dragon rider. I become one with the arm, and then I'm like, move, without actually telling the arm to move. Move. It's like a feeling. I move it. It's like a... And where does that feeling come from? Nowhere. You can't find yourself. Nobody can find themselves. That's why everyone's busy running around our society trying to be someone special and trying to be a self, because nobody can find themselves. And those with the least amount of self are determined to have a personality disorder or autism. And then they have to work on themselves to build a sense of self. Yes. Whereas really, we want to tell all the therapists and all the psychiatrists that there is no self. There is a collection of ideas and feelings in which some energy sucks all in and makes it you. But actually, if you come back to the moment, there is no self. Okay, I have to get out of my silly mood. Don't know what happened. That wasn't coffee driven. It's still here, my coffee. Okay, calm down, Lisa. You got yourself overexcited because people are watching you inside a computer that actually aren't inside the computer. Okay, calm down. Being silly. This is just the effect of speaking about this for like 12 and a half years. Sometimes it's hard to take yourself seriously. There's only so many times you can say it. Whereas in fact, I mean, like, what's really crazy is there's so many times you can say it, but you can only ever say it once. This is the paradox and the absolute insanity of non-duality and why everybody falls asleep, because it just doesn't make sense. So this is actually the first time that I've ever spoken about non-duality, because all there is this, but yet seemingly in some form of lucid dream, I seem to remember speaking about it for 13 years or 12 and a half years. And then before that, I listened to it for 10 years. So it's a long time, but that's only in a dream, because really in reality, there's only this. This is the first time it's being spoken. Oh my God, I love that. I love this subject, even though I've seemingly been involved in it for 23 years. I love it. I love it. Like, where is it that everything's coming from? That's such love. You know, when you get over the boredom of it and it making you fall asleep, it's such a love. It's such love. There isn't a better message than this. This is the answer to everything, even though there is no logical, thinkable answer. It's a known thing. It's your experience. This is it. This is it. This is it. And every word that's coming out is coming from non-duality. So the whole time you're like running, looking, suffering, trying to get to. The whole time that's happening, you're missing the fact that it's all coming from non-duality. You can't get to non-duality because you already are non-duality right here, right now. But what happens is, because there's identification with thought, there's then this springing up of a seeking energy, which is trying to arrive at something. Pardon me. So there's an identification with the thought, I'm not good enough. And then there's a seeking to fulfill that. So then there is this dream of someone not being good enough, trying to fulfill that. And they're not even conscious of it. So they go and sleep with lots of people, or post themselves online, or go and eat 10 bags of potato chips, which is not what we call them. Oh no, actually we do. Potato chips. Chips. Yes, English people call them chips. No, we don't. Crisps. English people call them crisps. Sorry, I've lived outside of England so long, I forget. Sorry, we call them crisps. 10 bags of crisps. Or skydive, or jump off a cliff and paraglide, and I'm not saying don't do that. Like, I'm not saying just go and sit in a cave and not do anything. I'm pointing out this seeking element. It's not the doing. Doing is part of being human. We do things. It's not that doing is wrong. It's not that posting yourself online or eating 10 bags of potato chips, although that is potentially wrong. It's not that these things are wrong. It's just that they aren't going to give you what you're truly looking for. What you're truly looking for is yourself, which is where everything's appearing from. It's the most intimate sense of being. But the mistake is that I've lost something, I need to be something, and then I'm looking in the external, or looking in objects to become something, to have something. So it's a returning to the source. So what you need to do, or the people out there that are desperate to do something, is a disidentification with the thinking and the emotions and the experiences. That's not really somebody's doing, though. That's not a prescription, because how would somebody do that? It would be a thought that does that. But it's an undoing. You begin to listen to these talks, you contemplate this subject, you I don't know what else. You read books, you go on retreats, you talk about attachments, you feel into the body, you do body work, And there's a seeing of the illusions, but it's not actually somebody doing it, and it's not someone that's going to arrive somewhere. It's a collapsing of an energy that's holding on to something which is a lie. And then another thing that happens is a repetitive movement back to what actually is. It's not really becoming present, but it can feel like becoming present. And then at some point, grace takes over, and there is just a shift, which is effortless, and nobody does it, and nobody has to maintain it. It's just that who you truly are comes forward and becomes apparent, and the character goes into the background. So it's no longer the character, the person, the thoughts which are doing. Everything is appearing and coming from the source, and the character is seen as a functioning that is happening. And then after that, there still might be a detangling of the character. Like my character still goes through processes, and there's still old seeking patterns that arise where Lisa can be a plonker. But it's just known so deeply. Like it's not known as a thought, it's just who you are. That right now, what is speaking is freedom. Freedom. Not Lisa. Who is Lisa? How could Lisa be speaking to you? How could you be listening? How do you listen? The mind is like, well, I'm sitting here, I've turned on the computer and I'm listening to Lisa. But how? How did you do all of that? Ramesh Balsekar, my teacher, he used to say, at the end of the evening, he didn't have teeth on. If you want to go and listen to him on YouTube, there's a new channel out that's releasing his old talks, but he didn't have his teeth in, and he had a Mumbai accent. And he would say, which I can't imitate, so I'm just going to make up an accent. In the evening, take a glass of whiskey and sit there and ask yourself when did I make a choice? And take a particular choice that you made and ask when it began. So, for example, if you went to the supermarket, like at what point did going to the supermarket, the choice to go to the supermarket begin? Did it begin when you had the thought? Did it begin when you ran out of potato chips, crisps for the English, just in case they don't know, translation? Did it begin when your partner complained that you'd eaten all the chips? Did it begin when somebody invented chips? Crisps, you're freaking English, Lisa. Did it begin when somebody invented crisps? Did it begin when the first potato was grown? Did it begin when God decided to make the universe? Or did it begin when nothing ever happened? When did choice begin? When did your choice begin? I'm gonna go and buy potato chips and, crisps. I'm gonna go and buy crisps, and that is my choice. I mean, it's just endless. If you look in the timeline, you can never find a beginning of a choice because it's referring perfectly back to in the moment. You can never find who makes a choice and who's choosing because there's nothing here. Just like there's no beginning in the apparent timeline because it's like a mirror effect. What's that called? The reflective, infinite mirrors, infinity mirrors. It's like fractals, never begins. So you experience non-duality. By following it back to where it comes from. Where does it come from? Where does it come from? Where does the sky come from? Where does the hill come from? Where do the trees come from? Where do the clouds come from? Where does anything come from? Where? That is the question. Where does it come from? Does it come from a thought? Does it come from an imagination? Does experience, does everything come from imagination? The imagination that you walked into this room, that you're sitting here. Can this moment come from imagination? It makes such logical sense to the mind that of course this experience comes from imagination. Of course I walked into the room. But that is imagination. That's not actually what's happening. And the answer to non-duality is in what's actually happening. It's not in knowledge. It's not in emotions. It's not in experience. It's in what's actually happening. Look. Wake up. Wake up. What is actually happening right now? The mind is like, brrr, 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 telling you what's happening. That's not true. What's happening right now? Shh, 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 shh. Don't be so condescending, Lisa. Do you know psychologically how bad it is to do that to people? Shh, shh, shh. Condescending. Who did that to you as a child, hey? My teachers. It's like, when you used to go to the fair as a kid, and the thoughts are like, you get that like hammer, and then you get these little goblins that pop out of holes, and you have to like hit them on the head to get them to go back down again. It's like that, like boom, 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 boom. So you have to like go into your garage and get that hammer and boom, 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 boom. That's a joke. Please do not do that. That was incredibly irresponsible for me to say. It was really irresponsible. Sorry, I apologise. Sometimes the jokes go too far. Yeah, sorry about that. I love you. I don't want you to hurt yourself. It's nothing. You don't have to hurt yourself to get to this, obviously. Really, what I'm worried about is you're going to sue me. That's a joke. Sorry, no, I'm going too far. I'm too overexcited. You go too far. Yeah, I hope you take it the right way and you enjoy it. Like it, because the good thing about laughter is it really takes you out of yourself. We get so serious about this subject. We get so serious about our mental health and happiness. And the great thing about laughter is it kind of breaks that. Roger, my teacher, used to say that when you're laughing and crying, the brain chemistry is changing. I don't know if that's a scientific proven fact, although I don't know what scientific proven fact is, but there's something that changes. Forget yourself. Yeah. Forget yourself. Where did the thought come from? Who is the one that's asking? Who is asking? Okay, we go to questions. I'm running out of introductions. So if anyone has any questions on Telegram, you can put your hand up if you're in the Telegram group. There's a live stream going on in the Telegram group, so you can put your hand up and I will unmute you, and then you can ask a question. You can also in the Telegram group write a question and I will read it.